It is time to talk housing crash. More specifically, I am going to list 9 reasons the housing crash and doomers have been wrong for the last 5 to 10 years, depending on how you're counting it. The reason I'm doing this is I am being inundated with Crash Bro fans. So in this quick 3, 4, 5 minutes, I'm going to give you 9 reasons they have been wrong. They will continue to be wrong. But most importantly, I want to arm you with 9 facts that you can use to get just a little smarter and see through their BS and utter nonsense. So number 1, the housing doomers and crash bros cannot see past the last crash, aka the global financial crisis. They are so warped. Maybe they have PTSD. Maybe they were personally impacted by the GFC and they can't get out of the way. They now think that every cycle ends in a 30, 40, 50, 60% crash. That is not how housing cycles work. If you have taken the time to go back and look at the last, say, 55 years, like I have, you realize that the housing cycle of the GFC is abnormal, not normal, unusual, one-time thing. So to think that the next crash will be just like the GFC is a mistake. If you are watching a housing analyst and all they keep telling you is the next GFC is coming, probably a good sign that that creator has PTSD or is at least very biased. Number 2, I don't know how to say this one nicely, so I won't. The housing crash bros or doomers are either too stupid, too young, or too naive to look at history. History is a great teacher, and we have had housing cycles long before the GFC. In fact, if you were not too stupid, too young, or too naive, you would have seen that the U.S. housing cycle has been through a similar stretch. We have had a time in history where interest rates shot up and shot up quickly. So if you had half a brain, right, you would have looked at that and said, hey, can I learn something from this? What happened the last time interest rates doubled or tripled? Maybe, just maybe, there is something I can learn from this and get ready for this cycle. They clearly did not. Number 3, we actually had a housing crash. We did. We had a housing crash. Unfortunately, these doomers didn't see it. Still haven't talked about it. The housing crash was in transactions. We went from roughly 6.4 million transactions to currently 4 million, and I think going lower. That is a crash. That is real GDP. That is real jobs. That is real income disappearing. So again, we had a housing crash. It just wasn't where these individuals were telling you it was going to be. Next, there is an economic concept that these housing doomers do not understand. And again, it is only something you can get by looking at history. It is something called price elasticity. How sticky or how slow moving is something. If you go back and look at history, housing, specifically single-family homes, is very inelastic. These housing crash bros and doomers who are calling for 10, 20, 30% crash think that your single-family home is a shitcoin in crypto. They are misguided and miseducated and wrong. Price elasticity is important. Next, Again, very different from the GFC. These individuals have failed to realize that shelter is on the Maslow's hierarchy of need: water, food, shelter. And not understanding that a lot of people have a artificially low fixed rate shelter cost is an asset, not a liability. What these doomers and idiots failed to realize is that in the GFC, because 51% of loans were ARMs, the shelter cost exploded higher. In the GFC, it was not uncommon to see one of these 2-year neg am loans go from $1,000 payment to $4,000 at point of reset. And the problem was, in that environment, your house, you could rent something similar for $1,200. So your shelter costs would go from $4,000 to $1,200 if you let it go. Today, people have a 2.7%, 3.1% mortgage, and their shelter cost is fixed at $900, and renting a similar home would be $2,000. They will do everything they can to stay in that house. They will let credit cards go to default. They will let student loans go to default. Shoot, they will let their car go to default before they see their shelter cost go from $900 to $2,000. Again, we are only at number 5. There are 4 more to go. And number 9 is my favorite. Here's number 6. These idiots and fools have not studied history of the foreclosure process. Again, if you're going to say this is the next GFC, you should go check the foreclosure timelines of the GFC, which I have done. In the GFC, it was not uncommon to have 1,000 days between your last payment and losing your home. If you're not good at math, let me just tell you, 1,000 days is almost 3 years. So yes, there is some distress in the pipeline, specifically FHA, and I do believe fraud is going on. But to think that this is all going to be resolved and the distressed inventory is coming to market tomorrow is misguided. Again, this probably shows up in 2026, best case. So again, leaning into foreclosures exploding in the market in 2025 and calling for a housing crash is not understanding the facts on the field. Number 7, if you haven't figured out by now, banks and the U.S. government will not let the housing market go the way of the GFC. They will, at a drop of a hat, create forbearance periods. They will bleed this out. They will slow roll this thing. They are not going to behave like they did last time. Number 8, calling for something greater than a 5% housing crash in any single year is historical oddity. You can go back and look at history, and there is 1 year, possibly 2, back-to-back in the GFC, where home prices fell greater than 5% in a single year. Can housing fall 5% over multiple years? Absolutely. Can it fall 10% over multiple years? Absolutely. Can it fall 10% in a single year? Very unlikely. And then number 9, this one is my favorite. These content creators, frankly, don't care about their audience. They don't care about being right. They don't care about their reputation. They have sold out to the algorithm. They know if they create their daily doom porn that you will click on it, you will watch it, you will be afraid, you will do nothing, and they will buy homes. Folks, it's probably not a surprise to you, but these content creators with mass followings are printing money. And it probably wouldn't shock you that some of them have gone from renters to homeowners. This is what they are doing. And then I did have number 10. I wasn't sure if I was going to say it, but I might as well. What I have seen in a lot of these crash bros is they are actually failed individuals in the real estate business. Some of them are failed mortgage originators. Some are failed real estate agents. Some are failed underwriters. And they just became porn creators. Their porn is doom, fear. So those are my 10 reasons, and hopefully they help you understand and allow you to ask questions. Are you thinking the GFC? Are you thinking foreclosure timeline? Are you? So that's what I got for you. I was getting bombarded, so I wanted to create the top 10 list of why housing crash doomers are wrong.